Hi everyone, and my name is Meredith Gradle, and I am here to talk to you today about understanding SEO. I'm pretty passionate about this because I think it's quite ignored by photographers in our space, and let's just dive right in. We're going to keep it short, brief, all with little tidbits of information that you can take and implement into your business today. So a little bit about me before we get started. Again, my name is Meredith. I am a former photographer turned tech entrepreneur. I am the founder and CEO of Iris Works. If you haven't heard of us yet, we are a studio management platform built specifically for photographers. I built it based off of my business. I was a portrait photographer for many years, and our goal is really to keep it simple. We know as photographers, we have so many things on our plates. Many of us are also parents, have spouses, families. Sometimes a lot of us have other jobs as well. And so we really try to keep things as simple as possible. And we know that systems in general can be pretty overwhelming. And that's why we try to make it as easy as possible for you, not only by keeping the software itself simple, but also by, offering one-on-one support to all of our customers. And then favorite quote is on here. When we don't grow when things are easy, we grow when we face challenges. And we know that as business owners, we face them every day. And that is something that we all need in order to continue to grow. So enough about me. Let's dive right in. So we want to talk about expanding your digital footprint. And the reason I'm really passionate about this is because I see so many photographers only lean into social media. And while that is great and social media should be a part of your digital footprint, it should not be the only part of your digital footprint. And a lot of you are probably thinking, well, I have a website. Great. But what are you doing with that website? Are you driving clients there? Are you actively trying to get more traffic to your website? Are you trying to show up in Google? Are you blogging? These are things that you've got to think about when you consider your digital footprint or the real estate that you have. Social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook groups, all of that could technically disappear tomorrow. And you wouldn't have anything then to market your business except your website, right? You own that URL. And so I want you to think about a couple of things here. Keep that in the back of your mind. What if Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or whatever went away tomorrow? Or what if they decided, hey, businesses, we're going to charge you for every single post that you make, or we are going to charge you just to be on the platform? Would that change the game for you? Really think about that. You don't want to put all of your eggs in one basket. Again, you own your URL. That is your digital real estate. Make sure that you are truly investing in that space. And that's really how you're going to change the game for yourself. Again, a lot of photographers tend to ignore their website. They have it, but they don't necessarily update it. They don't provide new content. They're not refreshing it. And that's really going to be detrimental to your business. The focus and the trend for the past few years has been, how do I get more likes? How do I get more followers? How do I get tagged by other businesses? How do I go viral? Ask yourself this. Is that actually bringing you in new clients? If it is, that's great, as long as you can really prove that it is. But also remember that 80% of people are going to Google a service or company before they make a decision. And that's huge. I mean, I am on Google constantly. I'm going to guess that you guys are as well. So just remember that Google is huge, and you've got to figure out, how do you show up there and how do you stay there? So that's what we're going to talk about a little bit more today. All right, so how does blogging help SEO? So let me back up for a second. SEO stands for search engine optimization. So that just means, how do you get a search engine like Google, for example, to optimize your website? How do you optimize your website to show up on that search engine? So blogging, a lot of people dislike it. It can be time consuming if you're not doing it right, or if you're not prepping properly for it. But it should be something that you add to your workflow. It's inexpensive in terms of actual dollars spent. It does cost some time, which we know is very valuable, but it can have the biggest return on your investment. And so you've got to make sure you're doing it to not only drive traffic to your site, but attract those potential new clients. Google loves fresh content. So you have got to be constantly, consistently showing up on your website, adding new content so that you can show up on page one. Blogging can, and not only do that, but it's also going to enhance your brand awareness. Okay, so let's talk about what SEO means and how that translates into driving clients to your website. So to start, I know you've heard about this a bunch of times. We're going to talk about keywords. So keywords are what Google is going to kind of look for, rank you for, and those are certain things that clients will be searching when they're looking on Google for things. So there's a lot of free tools that you can utilize to help you identify keywords, track where you're ranking for those keywords, and so forth. One of the big ones that is a pretty great tool, it's free. It does have some limitations with the free plan, but it's called Ubersuggest. I would recommend taking a look at that. But where you should start, I want you to think about putting yourself in your client's shoes. If you are your client and you're looking for you, the photographer, what would you type into Google? What would you look for? Likely you're going to talk about, you're going to search for your location followed by photographer, or your location followed by portrait photographer, or family photographer, or top X photographer. So you got to kind of start writing those down, just kind of get a list going. That's what you want to start looking at in terms of keywords. Now, you want to make sure that you don't overload your website with those keywords once you've identified them. Google can kind of understand if you're trying to stuff your website with those keywords. The algorithm will know. But just keep a list of those and make sure that you start, when you've kind of identified those, mark where you currently rank for them. And if you're ranking on page 10, make it a goal to get to page 9. The SEO game is a long-term game. It will take a while to get there. So just keep that in mind. But you want to start tracking it, and then you can see your improvements as you go. But a couple of things about keywords. You want the content of your blog within those first 100 words. You want to make sure that you've got your keyword there. Now, you're going to have a list of keywords, right? So you're not going to just have one, you're going to have multiple. So just make sure that you're using it in the first 100 words of a blog post, for example, or if it's on one of your static pages of your website, your home page, pricing page, so forth, make sure it's above the fold and it's in the top part of that. Additionally, a couple of things, make sure you're using title tags in your blog post and make them unique and descriptive. That's what's going to appear in those search results. And keywords can be in those titles as well. Okay. A couple of other things to really hit on here when it comes to blogging and SEO. You want to post frequently. We talked about this briefly earlier, being consistent and doing it consistently. But photographers that blog often are going to get more visitors to their website, which gives you a higher ranking. So Google loves visitors, right? So if you are gaining more and more traffic each month, Google's algorithm is going to say, hey, this is a website that has a lot of great content. It's fresh content. People will like the content because they're going to that site and they're reading that content. So it's going to effectively increase your overall SEO score. Be that expert. Your clients will get to trust you as well if you are constantly sharing good, valuable information, good content, and you want to do that on your blog. And I'll pause for a second because I know a lot of photographers think that blogging is only about sharing your photos. It's not just that, and we'll talk about that here in a minute. But you can blog about many other things that will be pertinent to your clients and your prospective clients. And then lastly, backlinks. So a backlink is basically a link to another website on your website, or vice versa, another website linking to your website. Google puts a huge emphasis on this, and this is something that does take some effort and some time. You have to kind of build relationships, but there's ways to do this by writing guest blogs for other websites. You can submit content to publications where will then link back to your website, and then collaborate with other industry experts. Another great way to do this. Again, it does take some time and effort, but the return on this investment will be substantial because Google loves backlinks. So make sure that you're incorporating this into your business as well. Okay, so all of these things we talked about, how do you get started? So first of all, I know that you've probably heard this before, but you got to schedule it. I highly recommend you pick a day of the week. Maybe it's the morning on, Wednesday mornings. That is the day that I am going to either update a portion of my website or I'm going to post a blog post. We recommend adding it to a workflow, within your CRM system, like Iris, for example. But if you make it a habit and you plan for a certain time or day of the week, you are much more likely to actually follow through on that task. Additionally, and this is something that a lot of people have never even thought of, but create a content calendar. So you first want to decide how often are you going to blog and how often are you going to update your website. Set kind of some guidelines or soft deadlines for yourself, and then create a calendar. Plan out a few weeks. If you're really ready to dive in here, set out to plan a few months of content to get an idea of what blogs am I going to write and when am I going to do them. Now, that sounds a little overwhelming. However, we are going to include today with this presentation a document, a free PDF document that has a year's worth of blog post topics. So you may find that you can use 15 of them. You may find that you're going to use them all. Or you may find that these topic ideas are going to give you future ideas for your website. So it might spark a little creativity. And then additional tip here, you can repurpose content. So if you posted a blog 6 months ago, go refresh that content and repost that blog as a new piece of content. Google sees it as fresh content. You've got to have some new information there, but you can do that. So you don't have to always have a brand new idea that you've never thought of before. Okay. And then I know that Google seems like a big mystery. It's like the black box of, SEO is kind of this big black box. But like I said earlier, 70 to 80% of people research a company online before they make a purchase. So they are not going in blindly. They are doing their research. 70 to 80% of people are doing that. So your ultimate goal here with SEO and blogging is to just get Google to like you. So to recap, what do you have to do to actually get Google to like you? You've got to provide good content. You need to update that content consistently. And two things we didn't talk about, but I do want to touch on briefly. You need to make sure that your site is mobile friendly. I would guess that 90% of people are using their phone to do Google, right? Like they are constantly on their phone. All of us are, be it good or bad. That's kind of where we're absorbing content and looking for things. And so make sure it's mobile friendly, and then make sure that your site loading time is great, because Google also puts a lot of emphasis on those two things. And that's fairly new, I believe, in the last year, where the algorithm has really shifted to kind of favor sites that are mobile friendly and site content time is very low. So just remember, it's going to take you some steady, consistent effort in order to kind of get these things checked off of your list and see your efforts pay off. But it's a like I said, it's a long-term strategy, but it's one that really will pay off in the long run. Your investment is going to be, you're going to have a really great return on that investment that you make. Okay. So remember, get some blog posts, share those blog posts once you get them up on social media. They can all tie together. So we're not going to forget about social media. We are going to still make sure that we are linking to those blog posts, again, trying to drive traffic back to the website, to the real estate that you own, not somebody else. You own your website. So trying to drive as much traffic there is a big goal. And then, position yourself to be a guest blog post on another website to get those backlinks to your website. And then make sure that you're doing the same, that you're backlinking to other reputable sites and blogs. And like I said, I know this is kind of a lot of content. It's the meaty content. It's not the super exciting content that a lot of topics when it comes to business cover, but this is super important. So I highly suggest that if you don't have a website, you need to go get one, get that URL, own that domain, and then really start to build that up. Start to work on your reputation online by doing some of the things that we talked about today, and report back. We'd love to hear how your progress goes over the next 12 months. Thank you.